Hi, everyone, and welcome back. I'm Adriana Monique Alvarez, the founder of Alma Publishing, and we are continuing our interview series, The So Much More Story. And we are super excited to have Sarah Cross with us today. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Absolutely fabulous. And can I say what a privilege it is to be here? And I know what you are trying to do, how you are trying to empower women and raise them up to be greater leaders, which is what this world needs right now.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Now, tell us where in the world you're joining from.
I am presently I am in New Zealand. I'm originally from the UK.
Oh, wow. You're in New Zealand right now. What time is it for you? It's early, yes?
8 o'clock, not too early.
Okay, good. I don't like to pull anyone out of bed in the middle of the night. Okay. Sweet. Okay, so Sarah, how do most people know you? Like, what do they know you as?
Most people know me as a mother, as an author, and now as a storytelling coach.
Awesome. And I know you are all that and so much more. Is there anyone that you would like to dedicate this story to?
Yes, I would like to dedicate this story to our 90-year-old selves, our selves that are full of so much wisdom and that we need to listen to more often.
Beautiful. I'm going to have you take it away and share your story.
No, I said to my husband, we are not taking our two young children from London, England, across the English Channel and down through the French canals on this small 30-foot boat with no kitchen, no running water, no cabins. It was just preposterous. But there was a tiny part of me that wanted to say yes, because my husband and I had dreamed of doing a trip like this, of taking our children down through the French canals. But the boat wasn't my dream. I dreamt of being on a vessel that had cabins and water and a kitchen and toilets, not an open boat like this. But this was the opportunity that lay in front of us, and we had a matter of days to decide and fly out to London. And I remember pacing up and down the cold, hard tiles in our Spanish house, and I had a whirlpool of thoughts that were flying around in my head. I was the mother. I had to keep my children safe. What if they fell overboard? What if we ran out of food? What if we got lost? All of these what ifs were just consuming me. And then suddenly, my 5-year-old daughter tapped me and said, "Mummy, what's going on?" And I told her about this opportunity that we had. And I said, "But I really don't think it's a good idea, Sophie." And she looked at me and she said, "Mummy, it sounds like a really exciting adventure. And I understand if you don't want to go. That's okay. I'll just go with Daddy." And in that moment, my heart stopped, because I knew that I needed to harness my inner warrior. I was not to be outdone by a 5-year-old. And so we said yes. And then we set off on what proved to be one of the greatest adventures of my life. A week later, we found ourselves standing on the banks of the Thames, Hampton Court Palace in the backdrop, and I looked up at the clouds, and these grey rain clouds were starting to form. And I said, "Where are the rain covers?" The rain covers were missing. I thought to myself, what have I done? What are we doing? But it was too late. We'd already said yes, and here we were. So we boarded the vessel, we started the engines, and off we set down the Thames. And then a strange thing happened. This wave of peace settled over me, because I suddenly realized that I had the power to become resourceful, that within me and with my husband, we could overcome the challenges that lay ahead because we'd said yes. And as we went, we had lots of challenges. We had to take 2 goes to try and cross the channel because the weather wasn't great the first time. Just as we got to France, this huge wave and wall of water came over the boat and drenched me to my core. We ended up taking the wrong turning down the canals and had to backtrack because one of them had been cut off and we didn't know. Our radios didn't work in France. We couldn't access drinking water on the side of the canals because we didn't have a key. We had issue after issue, but we overcame them all. And as we were sailing down the waterways in France, these beautiful tree-lined avenues and the rolling countryside in the distance, and I stood and I watched my children, and they had no toys, they had no games, they had no TV, and they were so happy. They were playing with the ropes, they were playing with the fenders, and they were just so absorbed in the present moment. And as I watched them, I realized that happiness is seeing life through the eyes of a child, that they understood because they were so absorbed in that moment. They weren't worrying about what happened yesterday or thinking about what might happen tomorrow. They were just enjoying that moment. And it made me realize that I, as a mother, had forgotten about that. That as a mother, I had been so consumed about these worries, these fears and insecurities, which were in fact stories. They were stories that I had made up in my head about what might happen. And as we continued on this trip, I looked back at that moment that I had been standing in my house before we left, and I realized that none of those worries actually came true. We never had heavy rain. The children never fell overboard. We always had enough food. We always had enough water. And it really showed to me how I'd been caught in this web of safety and that I hadn't stepped out of my comfort zone for such a long time that I'd forgotten what feels like to become resourceful. And that trip showed me that I had the power to step into yes and become more resourceful. And it was just the greatest lesson. And now I think I was so close to saying no. I could have said no and missed out on this great opportunity. And I think it was a great lesson to me and to all of us that we become a bigger, bolder version of ourselves when we say yes to challenges that push us beyond where we're comfortable. And so I would like to encourage everybody to say yes more to new challenges, because you never know what is waiting for you on the other side of the door.
Oh my goodness, Sarah, I love it. And I just love that daughter of yours. It's okay, Mom. You don't have to come.
I know. And I needed that in that moment. I needed to be woken up from my own thoughts. And that's what hits me. I was so close to saying no because the family was depending on me. And here was my 5-year-old. And I realized I learned so much on that trip from my 4 and 5-year-old daughters. I really did.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, because I like what you said, like, we have all these things that we feel like we need to be as a mother, but they're just stories. And then our kids reflect back something completely different. And we go, oh, okay, that's not at all what it looks like.
Yes.
I
Absolutely.
What a grand adventure. I would love to see France from that perspective. Oh my goodness.
It was incredible. It was that we went right underneath the Eiffel Tower, and there was a moment when I said to my girls, I said, look at this immense, spectacular monument. You know, this is one of the many amazing buildings in the world. Look at it. And they turned around to me and they said, not right now, Mummy, we're playing cooking. And it was another moment where it was just like, again, they were just so present, so absorbed. Anything else around them it wasn't important.
I love it. Wonderful teachers.
Absolutely, they are.
Now, Sarah, where else are you open to sharing your story?
So I love sharing my story. There's many others on podcasts or as a speaker, and you can connect with me at thestorytellingart.com or drop me an email at sarah@thestorytellingart.com.
I love it. And I don't know if you offer this as a service, but you have the most perfect voice and accent. You would be a great audiobook narrator. So I'm just dreaming of that in my head. If I just had your voice talking to me every day, I'd be golden.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And that is on the cards down the track. It's definitely something, you know, having been an author, I really value audiobooks as well.
So perfect. I want to thank you for sharing your story and for going on the adventure and for cultivating and encouraging stories in others. It's so important.
It is.
I want to encourage everyone that your story matters. And if you'd like to share your story here, we would love to have you. And if you would like to be in our next book, The Younger Self Letters, we are doing a version of what Sarah said. So she was inviting us to go to our future self, and I asked our contributors to write to a younger self. All of those details are in the description. Here's to saying yes more. Say yes to the adventure, even if you don't know what's on the other side. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you.